Hoosier Nation, what's up? Winning edition of Hoosier Court and Indiana Basketball Podcast. IU whips Purdue by 30 points in the second half. They only won by 15. We'll talk about the first half in a bit, but Indiana beats Purdue 73-58. They moved to 16-11 on the year, 7-9 in the league. A clearer path comes into view is what I've named this episode, Ben. Your initial thoughts on Indiana beating Purdue and getting arguably their biggest win of the year. They had to have this one. Michigan State was right up there, but I think this one looking pretty good today.
Yeah. Well, at halftime, if you had told me we would have won that game, I would have told you you've been drinking too much. I mean, what a comeback. You know, who knows what he told them at halftime, because they came out a whole different team.
I mean, completely different team in the second half. A defensive effort that I quite frankly didn't think I would see. And, you know, we're going to start with positives here. There's a few things to talk about that we weren't so thrilled with. We're realists here on this show if this is your first time watching or listening for those on the podcast form. But Indiana's down 12 at half. I'm texting my friends like, hey, rinse, repeat. This is kind of their MO. And they come out in the second half, boom, boom, boom. They cut it to 5, then down to 2, then they take the lead. And it all stemmed, Ben. It all stemmed from defensive effort and execution. Absolutely. Yes, there were shots that were made. Yes, Malik Renew was 7 for 7. All that stuff, right? We'll get to that. But the defensive effort on the ball by Miles Rice, who we have beaten down on this show, by Trey Galloway, by Anthony Leal, guys that I tweeted were the worst backcourt in Power 5 at halftime. I said that. They came out and put it on Braden Smith and Lawyer in the second half. I mean, your thoughts on just the pressure, the defense, everything we saw from them.
Well, I mean, Woodson made some huge adjustments. You know, Ballo and Mbako to the bench, Rice and Goody to the starting lineup.
Which they started out well in the first half, right? Like they started out well in the first half. And then, you know, Ballo and Mbako did not really do a lot in the first half. We lost that lead. It wasn't due just to them. But Mbako never saw the floor in the second half. Yeah. 9 minutes. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's a career low for him. And we'll get to him in a minute. But I've got the text on records. Do not change the lineup. Do not take anybody out. Play them until they puke. Like, stick with these guys. The only person that came in was Ballo for foul, and I understand that, right? Renew got his third. You got to take him out. Like, absolutely. But Renew dominated Trey Kaufman, man. Yeah. Dominated him.
Yeah. 7 of 7, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, all around. Good game. Our backcourt had 3 steals for Leal and for Rice. I mean, 9 assists for Trey Galloway. He's out there just somehow lobbing up dunk balls left and right.
Well, the ball pressure from Miles Rice and Leal and Galloway is something we've been wanting to see all year. And I remember early in the year we saw that from Rice. And then we hadn't seen it much, but like I'm sitting there yelling at the TV by myself saying he don't want the ball. He doesn't want it. And Miles Rice picked his pocket, takes it in, lays it in. But like Braden Smith, great point guard, like not taking anything away from him. He didn't have a very good game today, and Indiana had a lot to do with that. But literally picking a guy up, you can tell I'm excited here. This is Topo Chico non-alcohol in the glass here, by the way. But I am still excited. It's just to see that defensive effort, picking up, getting in a stance and picking a guy up full court and saying, yeah, you might be Big Ten Player of the Year, right? You might be a great point guard, all this stuff, but not today. Not today. And people were getting on the floor. We'll talk about Anthony Leal's cheap shot. We'll talk. Those are some of the negatives I will get to. We will talk about that because, quite frankly, Anthony Leal probably shouldn't have been on the court due to the incident in the first half with First, and he kicked his leg back. It was in the groin of Caleb First, and I'm an IU fan. I'm an IU homer, but I thought it was a flagrant 2 for sure, and he was going to be tossed, and they didn't call anything, which and chat is blowing up here. Paul, Darren, we'll get to you in a minute, but we got to hold that for a second because some of your comments I'm not sure. So, but I never thought I would see that type of ball pressure from Indiana. And if they can keep that going against Penn State, like, can they do that again? But just today to be able to do that shows me you're capable. The fans were rocking. Assembly Hall was rocking. That's what we want. That's why we're looking for a new coach, quite frankly. It's because that has not happened enough. And I will give Mike Woodson credit right here, right now. He's beaten Matt Painter 4 times, 4 out of 8, 4 and 4,
4 and 4
during Purdue's golden era. So Purdue, I don't know what you have to think about that, but go out to Purdue Twitter. They're down bad. And I got some things to say to Matt Painter. But overall, just defensively, I know, Ben, that's your thing, defensive rebounding. Go on the defensive effort.
The defensive effort, I mean, we've ball pressured. It's all about having more guards in the lineup than big men. Because I watched some other games too. I watched that St. John's, Connecticut game. St. John's gets in your ass. I'm telling you, up and down the court, they just get in your ass. And I saw a little bit out of them Hoosiers tonight, just, not making things easy, make them think about it, speed the game up a little bit, that kind of thing.
It just was – I was proud of the team today that, and I've been thinking a lot about this, right? There's a lot of still negativity around the program, and I'm as guilty of it as anybody, right? Because the performance in the first half was not good enough. The performance in the second half, if we'd have been doing that all year, we'd be in the top 10 of the country. Like, that's how much different it was. And, that's where this team is, right? But, you look at it, Trey Galloway, Anthony Leal, Miles Rice, and Luke Goody didn't come off the court in the second half. Mike Woodson, do you feel like a weight's been lifted off his shoulder and he can actually coach this team knowing I don't really care if this player or this player or this player comes back next year? I'm trying to win right now. Because on the broadcast, they said, hey, how did Ballo and Baco take it that you benched them? And he said, I don't have time to worry about that. We're trying to win a game against Purdue. That's the way you should have been coaching the whole time, no?
Yeah. Ballo's 25 years old. He ain't coming back anyway. But, I just think, no one wants to put Mbako on the bench. He's technically our most dynamic offensive player that can create his own shot, score. If we really want to do something, we do need him. So I don't know if that's necessarily great, but you also want to have guys in there giving their best and playing hard 40 minutes. And Mbako, for whatever reason, is not the greatest defensive player. He's slow foot. He doesn't move well.
You can't count on him defensively. My dad texted me about it. He said, what's the deal with Mbako? I said, you can't count on him defensively. And if he doesn't make his first shot or two, he's done for the night.
Yeah.
So you can hear it in the sound of my voice. I'm excited about this effort. And if we see that effort the last 4 games, we're going to talk about that path coming into view a little bit. Okay. We've been talking about it. Hey, what else I got to live for college basketball other than that? I got a lot to live for, but in terms of college basketball. And then chat, we'll get to you in just a second. Some real zingers in here that I want to get to. If Indiana gives this effort against Penn State's got no shot to beat Indiana, right? That same effort, they will beat the daylights out of Penn State.
And Washington.
But you play like you did in the first half against Penn State, though. You'll be up for grabs or you'll get beat. Right? We saw Penn State went into Minnesota and beat them. Like, they're definitely capable.
Well, that's been our problem with our whole season. We haven't been able to put together a whole 40 minutes. We have spurts of 8 minutes where you play phenomenal, and then 8 minutes you're like, what team is that out there? It's very up and down, scary up and down.
We said it the other way today. We were texting. hey, what is this team we're seeing in the second half? But I'm glad we saw it. So look at what's coming up. Before we go into the path forward, I want to hit the chat here. So Paul says Woody might have just saved shot. Stop it. Might have just saved his job if he makes the Sweet 16. Just for the listeners out there, Mike Woodson's done. He's not coming. We could win the national championship. He's not coming back. He's not going to be the coach next year. It's already been agreed upon. He even reinforced it in the press conference today. So anybody that's saying that, just stop. It's not happening. Take your conspiracy theories and shove them. Darren says, Trey Galloway is one of the best passers I've seen in the collegiate game this year. Unbelievable reading the second line and throw back. I will say this. His ability to use his body to get in the lane and throw that lob, he does it as good as anybody as I've seen with his skill level. Is that fair? Like, I don't think he's one of the best passers in the game. I think we played against one of them today. He didn't play like it today in Braden Smith. But the way he throws that lob to Ballo and the way he did it to Trace and Ware last year, like he's got, what do you think about Gallo's passing?
I think he's doing the best he can. He averages 4 assists a game, so let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Call him Trey Young or somebody like that. But for his skill level, I feel like he's passing as good as he can. That's my opinion. I don't want to call him Trey Young or Halliburton or.
Here's your comment. There you go. All right, Gerald's in here. Gerald says Mbako and Ballo were late to pregame film last night. We don't know if that's true.
Gerald, who's your source on that?
Yeah, Gerald doesn't know what he's talking about. Sorry, Gerald. In Assembly Hall today, I haven't heard that loud since the Hood Schifino days. That was like 2 years ago. What are we talking about here? So, all right. Another one. So Darren says he likes to play 2 bigs. He's like, if you get the coaching search, we can all agree. We're going to save this one. He also says no need for subs. There's so many stoppages in play. You need to play 5 or 6. I don't disagree with that. If there's no foul trouble with the number of timeouts and the shape they should be in, there's no reason. Unless there's foul trouble, I agree. What do you think about?
Well, we did have 3 guys that finished the game with 4 fouls.
I know.
Yeah.
But if you play 6 guys, you probably should. If you're playing, if you're playing the defense that Indiana was playing today, like the fouls were, every foul they used was the right one. Like Leal, smart with the fouls. I remember, I think his 4th one, he was going to give up a layup that maybe was going to cut it under 10. Right. So, that's that. So, Paul comes back and says Mbako is good enough to get you fired. I do agree with that, which we saw. We're seeing it right now. So, yes. Talking about Penn State here, another comment in the chat. Let me see if I can actually put this on the screen here.
Can you put it on the screen? Because I love that.
I'm not putting this comment on the screen. No, I'm not putting that on the screen. But he's, we're just going to skip. But he says he says Penn State will crawl in your jock defensively and check the size of it. So, and then he goes on to talk about Steve Smith. We're not going into that story from the weekend. If you're checking in the NFL stories, just
we can't go into that.
Yeah, we just beat Purdue. I don't have time to talk about Steve Smith and his extramarital affairs. But a couple more before we talk about the path forward. Malik Renew or Trace Jackson Davis? Who you got? That's a dumb question. Trace Jackson Davis, and then Braden Smith, worst game of his career. Maybe. And Gerald says his roommate's a manager for the Hoosiers. Sure he is, Gerald. Thanks. So that's your catch up on your comments here. But I'm glad we got to show a little love to the posters. Throw some more comments in as we talk about the path.
Gerald, I believe you.
Why not? We can buy into anything right now. We can buy into absolutely anything right now. So Indiana has a path forward, right? They're 7-9 in the Big Ten. They are 16-11 on the year, like I said. It feels like you got to get to 20 to have any type of case. Is that fair? You got to get to 20 wins some way, somehow to have any type of case. Is that fair?
What do we got, 5 games on?
Well, Garrett, I think I will say is Indiana has pretty much probably secured a spot in the Big Ten tournament. I don't think we have to worry about them not making it, which a few weeks ago that was the case. I think Indiana's done enough to get there, but we've got 4 regular season games to go. We got Penn State at home on Wednesday, at Washington, at Oregon, Ohio State at home. I do like having Washington first on that road trip versus going to Oregon, who's playing pretty well right now. They just beat Wisconsin yesterday.
Did you watch that game?
Yeah.
They were getting killed. I don't understand. Yeah, but they were getting killed, and I don't understand how that Wisconsin blew there. That Tanji guy's a beast, though. Go ahead.
There's an open door for NCAA tournament. Ant Wright said it, right? You've got wins. You got some of the best wins in the league at Michigan State, Purdue, at Ohio State. Like you have, but again, you got some bad loss, not bad losses, but you just look at one of those games that could have gone the other way. I mean, you're probably not, you're on the right side of the bubble. If you win Maryland or Michigan or Purdue the first time on the road, you're definitely in any of those, right? You're 8-8 in the league. You got a split and you're probably in as long as you don't fall flat in the Big Ten tournament. So, I mean, every loss is quad 1, which, honestly, like it's tough because Penn State, they're teetering on that quad 1. So that'll be interesting to see because let's say Penn State comes in and we win big. That's going to kill Penn State's record. It probably takes that to a quad 2 because it's 75 is the cut line. Getting a little bit too far in the weeds. Having said that, if we play Penn State close, that keeps their net good, and it doesn't really help Allsville all that much. At the end of the day, you just got to win and hope they can win a couple more maybe to keep it going. But so Indiana's got these 4 games coming up. These are big, and it's not you've gone through the gauntlet, Ben, right? They've played Wisconsin and Illinois and Michigan. Illinois is a dumpster fire right now, but Michigan, Purdue twice, right? Like it's been a gauntlet. UCLA. And now it's all in front of you.
Michigan State.
Yeah, Michigan State. You win 3 of the next 4, I think they're in. I can't believe I'm saying it. What say you?
I feel a lot better than went 4 and got to 20.
Yeah.
Because
you can still get to 20 Big Ten tournament.
I don't know if you've seen this in the Big Ten tournament, but yeah. But if
Mike
you got
Woodson's had a little success there. He took us 1 year on a decent run there. So,
I think those are 4 winnable games. I mean,
there it is. Every loss is quad 1. That is true.
Thanks, Paul.
And I can't even believe we're having this conversation, but Indiana has to not have a letdown against Penn State. Penn State's good enough to come in and beat you. They just did it to a Minnesota team that's playing well.
Well, and our team. It just depends on which Indiana team shows up and for how long they show up, Because sometimes, the last 10 minutes of the first half today, we didn't show up. And then for the second half, we killed. What comment is it? That's so bad.
I can't. Yeah, I'm not going there. So, but no, and I will say, it's not just me talking about the path to the tournament. It's legitimate. There's legit bracketologists out there saying Indiana's last 4 in right now. All right, so let's just say Indiana is able to split 2-2. They'd have to win a couple games, I think, in the Big Ten tournament, right? If they were to go 3-1, which
I think you still got to win the first one.
That's what I think too. I think that they'd be 3-1, put you 19-12. We know. If there's one thing we know, it's how to be 19-12. Yeah, absolutely. 19-12, 18-13. Hey, I got to win this, that, the other. If we had expanded to 76 teams, we'd be a lock. That's going to happen. Think
we don't
about
need,
that right
we
now.
don't need,
but
we
think
don't need
about
more
that.
teams.
No?
No.
You're not up for expanding it? You wouldn't watch it?
No, I'd still watch it. I'm not going to be
That's
that
the
guy.
point.
I'm not going to be the guy that says that. But I'm saying 68 teams is already pushing it to where you're getting some teams that are not that great making it. In my opinion.
So I'm going to say Indiana finds a way. What's that?
I think the perfect tournament would be 34 teams.
No, I want to be able to watch basketball from 12 p.m. to 1 a.m. every night. I got 2 TVs going right now behind me right now.
That's true.
But so I think Indiana finds a way. I want to talk about Pat, then I want to go back to the current team going into this. I think Indiana can find a way to go to 3-1 if we have to, like Mackenzie and Baco, you can't just go away. We need you. We absolutely need you. And Hoosier fans, this team needs us. You all got your wish. Mike Woodson's gone. He's not coming back. There's no draft pick, right? Let's root for this team. See if they can win. Let's take the social media. Stop, if you want to voice your displeasure on social media, hey, I did it today. I'm not tagging the players in the tweets and sending them direct mess. Like, stop all that nonsense. And that's going to get me in a painter here in just a second. But you can say it's pathetic and it's unacceptable.
I've been hating since '82. I don't even do that shit. Sure. I mean, I might fight with you a little bit on Facebook, a fan, but I'm never going to, send a player message or a coach message. That's just taking it too far.
Yeah.
But I will have friendly fire. I will have friendly fire.
What do you think about Bobby Knight's chair? Mike Woodson claims that's the real chair. You believe that?
I just love how he said he thinks. He didn't say for sure. So I don't know.
Well, the Bob Knight legacy thing came out and said it's not the real one. I don't really care. He should bring it Wednesday night though. He should sit in that chair for the rest of the year, whatever it's going to take. So, can we count on? I mean, Bryson Tucker didn't even play. Kanan Carlisle looked like you grabbed me off the couch and said, "Hey, go out there and shoot with no warm-ups." I mean, I'd
rather see Bryson Tucker play than Carlisle.
Well, I think Bryson Tucker's clearly got beef with the coaches. Yeah, I mean, they're all gone. Like, what coach is coming in and saying, "Yeah, give me," who? That's probably an episode. But honestly, Leal's gone, Ballow's gone. Galloway's gone, right? The guys that are in here for the running. Goody has another year. I think he can apply for to come back. So I don't know why he wouldn't. I think he probably, wants to play at Indiana. I think that's what we need to do is get more guys that want to play at Indiana, not just play for X dollars. But I mean, Bryson Tucker didn't even play today. Can we count on? I mean, this team, if they're going to make a tournament, in my opinion, they're going to have
a little bit more
or Tucker, right?
Yeah, we need.
They're going to have to. I'm not saying they need to have, 30 points a night combined, but it'd be nice to get 10 or 12 from Mbako, and it'd be nice to get 8 to 10 minutes from a Bryson Tucker to spell these guys. But you can't count on them defensively.
Yeah. I think that's where the zone comes into play. Maybe a little bit of zone with those guys like Mbako. Or if we have to go with Ballo and Renew. What do they say?
Just they're talking about the chair and this and that and the other, which is fine. I mean, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it for those. But Harpoon Bakery, welcome to the chat. I noticed you on the Pigs post-game chat, so welcome in here to bring some sunshine, I'm sure. But he said the blind squirrel Woodson found a nut today. I was in the Pigs post-game chat, and Harpoon Bakery was loving it. So nice to see you here. But so this team, the Mbako, Tucker, Carlisle, those three. Just the fact that you're not getting anything from those guys right now is concerning. Fair?
Ballo's
that's
still
fair?
at 12-5. I wouldn't put him in the category of.
No. I'm saying Mbako, Tucker, and Carlisle.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I need one of those guys to give us something.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
especially when our backcourt's dicey, like they're hit or miss. So we need.
I mean, you saw the first half.
Yeah.
Like the first half, it was the worst backcourt in America. The second, it looked like the Pistons from 04 showed up and just locked you up, and you couldn't get a shot off. Like, I don't know what they had, but you know, hey, it is what it is. So I'm on record as saying that I do want to talk a little bit about the coaching search too. And I want to talk about Matt Painter. So let's go to Matt Painter first. I think Indiana, you know, Wednesday night, we'll be back at it. 8:30 game. Are we doing Hoosier Court After Dark 10:30-ish on Wednesday night, or do you want to do it on Thursday? If they win, I think we have to go live on Wednesday night.
If they win, we'll go live.
Okay, perfect.
If they lose, it'll be the next.
Yeah, if they win Wednesday night, we will be live. And chat, we might get back to you on a couple things here in a minute, but I want to talk about Matt Painter. So after the game, they asked him, and I'm going to paraphrase here, obviously, but after the game, they asked Painter what he thought about the job, and you know, Painter proceeded to pretty much go in on Indiana's fans and talking about how they need to support their team and they need, you know, all this and that and the other. And while I agree with a little bit of that, like obviously, yes, you need to support your guys. And, you know, we bring people in. He's like, oh, they think they're Michael Jordan or Scottie Pippen. Like, dude, number one, don't tell me how to be a fan. I'm not the lame brain tagging recruits or players. I call it like I see it. When Miles Rice plays unbelievable in the second half, I will say it. When he plays terrible in the first, I will say it. Right? But Matt Painter comes in and is like, oh, you know, you should, you know, it sounds like you need to be talking to your own fans, Matt, because go Twitter search Boiler Nation. They're not too happy with 4 losses in a row in the golden era, as you all like to call it. So, you know, Ben, I know you've seen, you know, what Painter. So what are your thoughts on him?
I just don't care.
That's fine. That's fine. Sounds like a guy that might want a new job. Hey, maybe he wants to be the one to come in and say, "Hey, everybody, come down." Sounds like he might be.
Would you be okay with Matt Painter? Would you be okay with Matt Painter coming in?
Is that a real question? Of course. I mean, talk about the ultimate heel WWE move. I mean,
yeah, I don't think
absolutely.
They might bomb his house.
I mean, hey, Rick Pitino went to Louisville from Kentucky. It's possible. Anything. Hey, anything can happen in these day and age. But I will say, got a little excited. I even picked my microphone up there for a second when he said Matt Painter. It sounded like, you know, Painter. Maybe he wants to be at Indiana. Would you take him?
I mean, I got my 2 guys I'd rather have, but I want to hear this guy that you're texting me about. You got our next coach. When are we doing?
I've been thinking a lot about this. So Matt Painter, just go coach your own team. Maybe we'll see you in the Big Ten tournament or the NCAA tournament. Go coach your own team. Or if you want to come to Bloomington, we'd love to talk to you. But until then, stay away. You're 4-4 against Mike Woodson. You can't talk. Now, there's other coaches that are way better, but you know what? Stand down.
All right, who's this pick?
Okay, so we're talking about the coaching search here for a little bit before we get out of here. I mean, I could go all night when we beat Purdue. I mean, before we talk coaching, sir, can we talk about Purdue Twitter is in a complete meltdown? They are down bad, and I'm here for it. They are down bad. They're out there. Oh, you know, this and that. Don't talk trash to the players. It's the same thing with Purdue or Duke or Kentucky. After a team loses, you got the 1% nut jobs of the world out there that are tagging people and losing their mind. And then you got people like us that they just call it like they see it. Like Indiana's a flawed team, but they shouldn't be 16-11. I think that's fair, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Purdue is a good team. They shouldn't lose 4 in a row ever. They shouldn't. And they did. And their fans are pissed about it, and they should be. They know they missed the opportunity to win the national championship last year. Like that team's not winning it. How far are you going to have Purdue going in your bracket this year? Second round?
Maybe.
Right?
I got to see how it looks. I don't know. They don't look that great to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, they had Edie. He was a generational player for them.
And don't get me wrong, Trey Coppin-Ren's really good, but he wasn't today. And so that's that. So chat, I mean, it's a lot of like rumor stuff, but I will say the national white boy media came to their glazing Painter. Oh, Matt Painter really went in on IUBB fans. Shut up. Stop it. Okay. Indiana fans have had to sit through 8 years of Archie Miller and Mike Woodson after the end of Crean's era, where that was a dumpster fire. So a decade. So give us a freaking break of, hey, we're a little bit pissed off. We want to win. I want to win before I die.
Let's get to the coaching search.
Oh, gosh. It's Sunday night, 9:30. What else you got to do other than talk about coach? I'm telling you right here, right now, I'm saying it with my chest, of who's Indiana's next coach is going to be. And I'm going to tell you right now, you are not going to like it. So for anybody that's new to this, tell them who you want before I tell you who it's going to be.
Well, everyone knows I want Chris Beard.
We got some new people in here tonight.
Rick Pitino knows we need Chris Beard.
Oh, God.
Don't
get me started on this media tour that I'm going to go. What coach goes out and says Indiana should hire Chris Beard? Go coach your own team, Pitino. You're doing a great job. We don't need to hear about, who you think Indiana should hire.
They asked them the question.
But I'm just saying, why? He doesn't have to. He should say, well, I just really am worried about St. John's. Like, I don't really have any line of sight. Like, he could have easily just deflected the question.
I like when people actually answer questions.
But it's disingenuous because Indiana's not going to hire Chris Beard.
Well, Chris Beard, did you hear why he liked Chris Beard? Did you at least listen to that part?
Yeah, because he's a good basketball coach. And I'm going to tell you who we're going to hire.
But did he tell you why he thought he was a good basketball coach? He watched his practices, and that's how he decides. Yeah, go ahead. Who's your pick?
He has Bob Knight scripted on his shirt. So, that's good. I'll tell you who the next coach is going to be. I'll give you one guess, and then I'll tell you.
If it's someone I don't.
We've talked about him on the show.
Buzz Williams?
No. Ben McCollum will be the next head coach at Indiana. It's going to be the same path that they took with Kurt Cignetti. Right or wrong? Ben McCollum from Drake will be the next head coach at Indiana University. You heard it here first.
I don't know enough about him.
I'm just saying, his name's on the hot board. He's been talked about. I'm convinced if you can coach basketball. Now, what McCollum would have to do
is figure out how to recruit.
What he would have to do is, we've got the resources. He would have to hire a GM, right? That guy can coach. He went into Northern Iowa in the Valley. They're 15-3 and won a game on the road. Tough environment. The guy wins. He's got 4 national championships at the D2 level. It's literally the Kurt Cignetti playbook, except he's 43 years old. Think about Nate Oates. Where was he not all that long ago? In freaking high school. And now he's got one of the top 5 teams in America. So I'm just saying, if you can coach basketball and you can get the resources around you to get the players, that's what it takes. Because you have to actually know how to coach basketball today. It's not just about building relationships. Like, look at Coach Cal. He's struggled now. He's not getting all the players anymore. You're going to have to. So I would be fine with it based on what I'm seeing on the court and what I think it takes in this league. So I think that will be who. I think that's who Indiana's going to hire.
Do you know why I don't think we'll do that? It's because we whipped on the last 2. It's too risky.
But the last Archie Miller was like, everybody wanted Archie Miller.
No.
Everybody, yes, they did. Ohio State absolutely did.
No. I hated Archie Miller.
I'm saying all the same guys glazing Painter today they wanted Archie Miller.
You
Field of
love Dwight.
68, all those media slaps, they wanted Archie Miller. The tweets are out there. Home run higher. Couldn't do any better. A+, all that stuff. And then the reason I'm not saying McCollum's a home run high. I'm not. I'm saying I did a little bit more research today about his background, his age, success, right? It doesn't matter the level necessarily, right? But my only concern would be, would you be able to have the infrastructure around you to get the guys in here to fit your system? Because I'm sure you can coach. Like Ben McCollum's probably going to be in the Sweet 16 with Drake. Like let's just go ahead and put that out there right now. So if they're in your bracket, folks, if they're in that 10 seed range, let's go ahead and pick them. But we'll see. I feel like, yeah, he's 40. He's going to be 44. Harpoon Bakery likes it. Yeah, I mean, here you go. Hey, the chat has spoken. I'm not saying that's my choice, but I think Indiana will do that, and I'd be fine with it.
Who's your choice?
TJ Otzelberger has been the first, and I said, I don't know that Indiana, I don't even know if he's on the list, but I think I would make the call. And if not, though, my thing is, what if Ben McCollum is the Pied Piper? What if he actually is somebody you could bring in? Like, he can coach. Like, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that he can coach basketball. Like, it's not that hard of you saw Woodson coached the second half of like effort and execution defensively. Defense, McCollum's a defensive-minded coach, wants to shoot the three, execute, don't make a lot of mistakes. Like that's, I think it's just from if you look at what Dolson wants, it's from that Kurt Cignetti hiring playbook. I would just say McCollum probably moves up the hot board the more he wins. But he is, in the research I did, he's from Iowa City, was born there. That job's probably could be open. Now, if I have Iowa or Indiana, it's no brainer. I'm taking Indiana, but I don't know what his close ties are to Iowa City. So he's a name to keep an eye on. I do think if I had to take a betting odds, I would say it'd be Mick Cronin. I know that's not the sexy pick, but I think it makes a lot of sense for a lot of different things. So that's my realistic hot board right now is Mick and Ben McCollum. We got 6 weeks to go before we make the hire, but maybe 4.
Yeah, but would Cronin be making a lateral move?
Who's to say? How do we tell somebody it's a lateral move? So watch the game today with Mick Cronin. His dad's in his mid to late 70s, sitting courtside. He lives in Cincinnati. Like, is that important to him for his dad to see him coach, not having to fly all over the country, can make a drive over to, I don't know, right? But I'm saying, like, UCLA to Indiana traditionally, yeah, probably a lateral move, but they had 7,000 people in the Poly Pavilion today. Wow. Well, they had more than that, but the last game they had 7,000. We had 17,000 today. I know, hey, you're pushing for Beard. I would take Pearl before Beard.
Oh yeah, I would even take Pearl before Beard. I just don't think Pearl's realistic now because he's
I don't either, but you could make the call.
Yeah. We missed the boat on some very good coaches. I think we could have had Pearl, we could have had Nate Oates, we could have had we just
could have been records, but we didn't.
Could have had Dusty.
Who is it? Drewski that the kids follow. Drewski could have been records. Like, yeah, we could have been stars, but we weren't. But so the chat's popping off with some of the content. So let me just check. The Beard bandwagon wouldn't mind McCollum, TJ either. Alford. Dockett says it's Mick Cronin. Well, he's plugged in, certainly. I can't wait until the hire's made because no one will be more in on it than Dan Dockich because he wants to get his ass back down there again. He wants to be involved. It drives him nuts. that him and Woodson had a falling out and he shut him out completely. So whoever it is, I think just do me a favor. Look up Ben McCollum. Look up his background. He's a young guy, 43. So lateral from UCLA to Indiana, oh, hell no, they say. What say you, Ben?
I mean, I think it's a lateral move.
Why?
We're both in the Big Ten. UCLA has a deep past. We have a deep past. Both teams haven't won in 20 years, 30 years. Kind of, I mean, it's very similar.
I mean, I think the resources and support for UCLA are much less than Indiana for basketball. Look at, the guy over my shoulder here. He could be involved. Isaiah Thomas highlights. Hey, do not, Indiana. I will leave with this. I love Isaiah Thomas. It was great for Indiana. Don't let him anywhere near the search firm or that plane flying to Teterboro to meet with anybody.
All I know is I don't want to follow the flights this year because last time we got screwed thinking we were getting Brad Stevens and we ended up with Mike Woodson.
Well, I'll say this. Other prediction. If it is Cronin, Mike Lewis gets fired at Ball State and he joins Mick Cronin's staff, and then that Indiana connection is still there. He comes home and he's an assistant coach like he was at UCLA. But beside the point, hey, this is one of the longest we ever went. 41 and a half minutes. Indiana beats Purdue. It's always good when we beat Purdue. Ben, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
I'd rather have McCollum than Cronin.
You heard it here first. We're on the McCollum hype train, but if he loses a game this week, don't tag me on social media. We'll talk to you Wednesday night. Later.
Hey, you can tag me. I'd love to talk to you. Goodbye.
For sure.